Crown has you covered. Start your day with the first word. Cincinnati's only morning sports show. Power through midday with the working lunch. Cincinnati business talk that keeps you in the know. Nat tries that for lifestyle around the city, and the Rebound Rundown covers every corner of the college basketball scene in the tri-state and beyond. This is The Crown. Built for Cincinnati. First word for your morning sports, the working lunch for business that hits home. Nat tries that for lifestyle around the city, and Rebound Rundown for college hoops. This city deserves its crown. Watch, listen, subscribe.
Midday in the Queen City, business is booming. We've got a big legal beaver update, and the CEO of a century-old nonprofit doing a ton of good is here. Let's do lunch. Cincinnati is a city that means business. Fortune 500 company HQs, renowned institutions like Children's Hospital and the Cincinnati Zoo, and letters that everyone here knows: TQL, GE, CVG, UC, and X. It's also a city that's large enough for new ideas to take root and grow. You know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody, and you're in business. I'm Jack Crumley, and this is The Working Lunch. Hello, welcome to The Working Lunch. I'm Jack Crumley. How are you? Nice to see you on this Monday. This is our hour-long business show here on The Crown, where we bring you updates from local companies and businesses. We bring you exclusive interviews with CEOs and local leaders. And there are times when we squeeze in a bite to eat, maybe something to drink before you go back to face the afternoon. Happy to have you on this Monday. Cincinnati business headlines presented by First State Bank. Built on belief and committed to doing right by our communities, First State Bank offers checking, savings, and mortgage services all from your phone. They believe in this community and they believe in you. Visit FSB4me.com. That's First State Bank, member FDIC, and equal housing lender. 3CDC giving an update on the Findlay Community Hub along Vine Street in the northern part of Over the Rhine. Construction on the Findlay Community Hub is now 75% complete. It is on track to open in January. The $48 million, 60,000 square foot community center will have child care and more. 3CDC calling it a crucial investment north of Liberty Street. And it now has agreements with both TriHealth and Learning Grove in order to guide programming and daily operations. Membership plans to the hub going to be modeled after Ziegler Park's successful Everybody In initiative. The hub featuring an income-based sliding scale to guarantee that every resident, regardless of their socioeconomic background, can enjoy full access to the hub's facilities. Families looking to learn more can go to findlayhub.com for information. That's a part of town that's really been in desperate need of attention. There have been other updates to social and health services nearby there because there are a lot of people who need that help as well, like the city stepping in on the St. Francis Seraph space. Crossroad Health Center in Over the Rhine going from that big blue building along Liberty now to the former rec center on Race Street. The Free Store Food Bank is nearby as well. A lot of need in that area. Saying goodbye in Middletown. Yesterday marked the last day of the tap room for Fig Leaf Brewing in Middletown. That is just for the tap room, though. Beer going to continue to be made by Fig Leaf as its owner, March 1st Brands, reportedly is looking for a new location. Fig Leaf opened 10 years ago in Middletown, a self-described independent craft brewery that houses custom brewing equipment and utilizes less common techniques and processes to make unique flavors of beer. They chose that spot specifically because of the water source in that area. We'll have to see how much that custom equipment presents a challenge in the search for a new location. March 1st is the company that had a tap room on Fountain Square for a while, also put Woodburn Brewing up for sale just last year. A quick bridge-related traffic update for those of you driving on I-75. ODOT crews are going to be blocking some lanes the next few nights for work on the Lynn Street Bridge replacement. Not any closures, but maybe some bottlenecks. Look for single and double lane closures on the southbound side of 75 between the Liberty Overpass down to 9th Street. That's going on tonight, Tuesday night, and Wednesday night until the early morning next day, so that'll go till early Thursday, depending on the weather. We have a new wrinkle in the Buc-ee's Beaver Battle of Ohio. Beaver Creek City Council tonight set to consider a resolution that would make the image of a beaver a symbol of the city's heritage and identity. This is all continued fallout from the gas station bathroom chain Buc-ee's suing the local Beavers Mini Mart in federal court, alleging that that local shop is infringing on its registered trademark of a beaver mascot. I have right here in my hand a copy of that city council resolution. It says in part, European hunters and frontiersmen named the local stream due to the prolific number of beavers found along its banks. establishing a geographic and cultural connection that long predates the arrival of national commercial enterprises operating under similar imagery. It also says locally owned businesses are an essential part of the local economy, and many have long incorporated the community's name and symbols. Also saying the beaver is not simply a marketing device, but a recognized representation of the city's identity. These are all things that are in this resolution up for vote tonight. Also, Huber Heights Mayor Jeff Gore has been making some comments that he recently talked with Buc-ee's owner, Arch Alpin. Alpin reportedly telling him that the company's concerned about the Mini Mart owner reportedly looking in to get his own federal trademark for Beaver Mart, and that Buc-ee's tried to fix things out of court before the lawsuit was filed. The Dayton Daily News is reporting that no such filing by Beaver's Mini Mart has been made. There is no reference to that concern in Buc-ee's federal lawsuit. Also, checking in on the GoFundMe that's been established to help Beaver's Mini Mart, pushing $55 grand in donations to help with legal fees. Beaver's Mini Mart was the site of a cash mob on Friday, encouraging local people to spend at least $20 there. Also, don't forget, CincyShirts.com is selling merch to raise money for the store as well. From my perspective, even if Beaver's Mini Mart is looking to expand, it's allowed to do that. And I don't think that that presents any more of a threat to Buc-ee's trademark than just one shop does. We live in a world where ill-tempered cartoon ducks named Donald and Daffy both exist to the benefit of different companies. Can't the Beavers just get along? Moving on now to Jack's Big Bite, where we focus on one particular story or topic in our community, a community we believe in with our partners at First State Bank. Stop into one of their local branches or visit online at fsb4me.com to access all the helpful tools and services at First State Bank, built on belief and committed to doing right by our communities. For today's Big Bite presented by First State Bank, we are talking about the United Way of Greater Cincinnati, an organization that has been helping people in this community across multiple counties for more than 100 years. And with President and CEO Moira Weir as my guest today, I want to make sure you guys have an idea of just how far-reaching this organization is. Take a look.
There's no wrong way to lend a hand, but what if we could make a bigger difference? To ensure everyone in our community has a chance to thrive. At United Way, we're turning that what if into a reality. We're bringing together community partners, donors, volunteers, people on the path to economic well-being, and neighbors like you to drive positive, lasting change. This is about putting the care, the love that we all have for this community into action every single day. We learn from everyone we help, and we advocate for them. We change the rules. Because changing the system, putting policies in place to protect our neighbors, that's how we make things different, better, for generations to come. That's how we make sure everyone in our community can truly thrive. And that's how we do it at United Way.
United Way's local community impact work focuses on 3 pillars of economic well-being: educational success, financial empowerment, and housing security. Last year alone, United Way of Greater Cincinnati invested more than $40 million into various programs all across this region in the community, reaching 339,000 people. That money came from over 30,000 donors. Donors invested in solutions that work. And the group saw help from 9,000 volunteers. This is all part of UWGC's 2025 Impact Report. We can take a look at that impact, the education pillar first. More than 49,000 children were a part of educational community programs. Over 7,000 little kids got books with the Dolly Parton Imagination Library of Claremont County. Thousands more were able to get information about careers in a partnership with GE Aerospace Foundation. And hundreds of families got help supporting their children's development so they're ready to learn when they start kindergarten. You're going to notice a lot of other organizations and programs that are referenced in this Big Bite and in the subsequent interview to come, because United Way of Greater Cincinnati is such a big umbrella. It often connects with partner groups to execute specific programs. Under the financial empowerment pillar, more than 10,000 local families got help with employment and income assistance through United Way's 211 helpline. That number answers more than 50,000 requests for help every year, generating an estimated $7.5 million worth of community benefits. Nearly 10,000 Cincinnati area households just last year filed their taxes for free and claimed over $10 million in refunds. Plus, there is coaching for families to plan their own future. And when it comes to the housing pillar, you folks watching this show know we've talked a lot about what a challenge housing can be in this area. 73,000 families just last year got access to home ownership support and solutions to prevent homelessness. Hundreds of families with their backs against the wall got help through United Way's partnerships with the City of Cincinnati, Legal Aid Society, and Hamilton County's Clerk of Courts Help Center. Keep in mind, this is all from just last year's impact report. This isn't organization lifetime data. This is annually. Just doing an internet search of headlines for different initiatives United Way of Greater Cincinnati has taken recently is really a flood of information. It helped with funding to keep Red Bike operating until at least the year 2028. The City of Cincinnati has a human services policy that's administered by the United Way, distributing more than $8.5 million in fiscal 2025. And also just last month, it announced over $12 million in grants by partnering with 100 local organizations, from the Adopt a Class Foundation to Legal Aid of the Bluegrass to Peasley Neighborhood Center and Price Hill Will. Millions of dollars raised, thousands of people getting help every year, hundreds of organizations in partnership, all with the United Way of Greater Cincinnati. President and CEO Moira Weir is my guest when we come back. You're watching The Working Lunch on The Crown. Here's some Monday stocks of local interest. Stick around with us, won't you? You should.
This Cincinnati has felt like home since day one.
James Rapine, Jacob Tissett, Paul Fritz, Jack Crumley.
The wait is over.
The Working Lunch.
Built for this city.
What is The Crown? It's simple, really. Authentic Cincinnati entertainment. Not hot takes from a studio 3 states away. Not national noise pretending to know this city. Rather, bringing a voice to those who call the Queen City home. Where can I watch The Crown shows? Join us live from 7 to 11 a.m. for First Word and 12 to 1 for The Working Lunch on RESN. No live TV? No problem. Stream and interact with all of our content on major podcast, broadcast, and streaming platforms. The Crown is Cincinnati. Loud, passionate, competitive, proud. From early morning sports debates to the business leaders shaping the riverfront, to the fans, stories, moments, and culture that make this place move. Live shows, podcasts, documentaries, digital content built from Cincinnati, for Cincinnati. This is The Crown.
Our beliefs matter. They're reflected in our words and actions. At First State Bank, we believe in treating people well, and have since 1884. Listening, caring, looking out for each other. It's what people deserve. It's what a real local bank does. While lots of things have changed over the years, our belief in you hasn't. First State Bank, built on belief.
Welcome back to the Working Lunch. I'm Jack Crumley. I am joined now by the President and CEO of the United Way of Greater Cincinnati, Moira Weir, joining us today. Moira, I really appreciate you having time to come in to talk about your organization. You guys do so much work, and I wanted to start off by asking you, I looked up a little bit about you. You've got your BA in a business with a focus in finance. You got your MBA from Thomas More, but you're running a monstrous nonprofit. How does that sort of educational background influence the way that you're running a group like United Way of Greater Cincinnati?
So, first of all, thank you for having me. Yeah. I'm excited. But I also have a master's in social work.
So, we're going to get to that.
Oh, okay. So that, I think, that combination has really helped me. But I would say from my business background, I always tell folks, it's a business. We have to run it like a business, and in terms of we're delivering great work, but it's always important to make sure we have the same business principles. Like, are we efficient? Are we making sure that we're meeting the needs of our consumer, our family? So I think it's helped me kind of balance both the mission and the heart with that we still have to be accountable and fiscally responsible.
Yeah, does that sort of business background that you've got influence maybe some strategic decisions that you make as the head of the organization?
All the time. I feel like they're also connected, and so we have to always make sure. it's easy to get pulled into a lot of different directions when you're doing this kind of work, and also to say, well, we have to stay focused, and we have to remember what's our mission creep happens all the time. Yeah. So stay focused, and also be willing to readjust your strategies based on what the needs are. And always thinking, obviously families are our center of what we do, but also are we fiscally responsible, because we want to be there for the long term. You mentioned in the beginning that we've been there over 100 years, so we want to be here for another 100 years. And that requires delivering a good mission, but also being fiscally responsible.
Yeah, I'm curious about your sort of take on being at the head of an organization, the stewardship of such a long-running organization, what that's like for you. And then also you talk about the financial aspect, $40 million last year, and knowing how to make adjustments when need be. You're trying to turn the wheel on a really big ship. Is all that, how do you balance all that?
So first of all, I feel like it's an honor to be in this role, because I get to do something I personally am passionate about. Coming to this role from Job and Family Services, our budget was like $2.4 billion. So it was, but it wasn't as amenable to move. Yeah. But what is awesome about this opportunity is we really let community help drive the end result in terms of what the needs are. So being nimble, but also making sure that we're, covering the needs, but also thinking about how are we solving for bigger issues. So I have a great team. I work with a lot of awesome people. I have a great board, and all these people, I think I have all these strategic partners that help. Everybody's got a great perspective, and then how we bring all that together to make sure we stay focused. And then we really have tried to adopt more of a framework of strategy so that we can pivot. Now, our pillars have stayed the same, which you mentioned. Thank you for mentioning those. Sure. But housing continues to be a challenge for all of our families, financial empowerment, and that's more than just survival. It's like, how am I helping every individual improve their financial stability, whatever they would like, and educational success. I always say we want everybody in this region to have the same opportunities to reach their fullest potential, whether you're a kindergartner starting school or you're an 8th grader or a rising senior. We want you to stay in school, meet your milestones, and then think about all the opportunities when you graduate.
Yeah, you know, I can't help but get a little smile on my face when I think about that bit that I found with working with the Dolly Parton Library and making sure little kids get books. I think that is just, and that's just one little piece of such a really heartwarming set of work that you guys are doing. The idea of change too, you know, sort of maybe changing some systems within the organization as going from try to get funding and then work for that to plug it in to help people versus trying to change systems themselves and make sure that maybe we set up a system in society where people are more likely to have success. That's a really big ask.
Yeah. So, I mean, you said it really well. I mean, the number one thing is we want to make sure people know their immediate needs. So, like, where am I going to sleep? Do I have enough food? But then also thinking about how are we changing conditions long term so we don't see, you know, as a worker, child welfare worker, I would see generations of poverty in a household. Well, what are we doing to change that? Right. So making sure like that children have all the tools that they need so they can be successful in school. So not only meeting their immediate need to get an education, but then setting them up for lifetime employment. You know, housing stability is critical. If we know that if people don't have stable housing, they don't go to work and kids don't go to school. So first of all, we want to stabilize, like you have a place to sleep tonight, but then what are we doing long term for so that communities can be strong and whole, and we don't have a lot of vacant buildings, we don't have a lot of movement. So we're always looking at ways we can stabilize. And then it's like financial empowerment. I mean, like we want to be able to provide for our families. And how do we do that and then give families the resources to improve their economic situation if they want to, whether it's helping them get connected to an employer to increase training opportunities. But, you know, you mentioned this, so we also, we do our own programming, so 211 and other things like housing stability, but we partner with so many organizations because I like to say, I like to choose who I get to work with, and so we want families to choose who they work with, and that requires us opening our arms to say who all is available. And so we work with over 400 partners. Not one of us can do this work alone, and it really requires all of us to come together. I like to say, I have lots going on in my household, right? So it's not one solution, right. It's multiple solutions and multiple organizations that help me achieve the goals that I want for my family. Well,
and there's such an upshot to, you know, the concept of partnering with all these different organizations, and a rising tide raises all boats, and you get to maybe see some innovations and ideas that maybe a smaller outfit or a different group came up with that never would have crossed your path otherwise.
That's exactly right. And we really have shifted our investment funding to be like, how do we co-create solutions together? What can we learn from each other? And then what's scalable? So to your point, like there could be an organization that nobody really knows about that's doing awesome work. How do we elevate that and then share those learnings so that we can scale it so lots of families can have that same opportunity? Something that
the United Way of Greater Cincinnati is really good about is telling the story of people who were impacted by your work. And, you know, one of the programs you just mentioned, I think you did, Backpacks for Success is a program you guys have going on right now where it's being able to make sure that kids have the supplies they need. School's coming up soon. And in terms of people telling their stories, you know, I've been told that, you know, you like to interact with folks yourself, not just have their stories get put on the internet to have videos that talk about things, but you like to get in there and talk to people. How important is that for you from a leadership perspective of hearing these people's stories?
It's huge. I mean, I think that's the social worker in me. You know, I love to be in community. I feel like that's where I'm most comfortable is in the community, and I love to talk to families. And so right now we're doing the backpack distribution. So first of all, we had so many awesome corporate partners that, you know, leaned in and provided us backpacks, whether they gave us the dollars to go out and purchase them or their teams put them together. So, you know, we have over 3,500 backpacks this year. And if you just think about, like, we've been the last few Saturdays, because school will be here before you know, and distributing them. And to see, I mean, imagine a child coming up, they get to pick out the backpack that they want, the color they want, they have what they have. I mean, we know that families right now are feeling really stretched, and like I was shocked at this. An average school supply per child on average is about $400. We know parents go in debt over that. If you have 4 children and you're already stretched. So number one, I'd like to hand these backpacks out. The kids are so excited. You get to say, have a great year, and they're excited, and they have the color they want, and they just have some confidence. But then equally important is almost seeing the relief of a parent or a caregiver to say, I don't have to worry about that now. That's an expense that I don't have to worry about. And we really want to set up our children and families for success. And so in these distributions, it's fun to see the kids, but also oftentimes they can get their hair cut. They can talk to other vendors, like talk about medical care. I mean, there's lots of opportunities. So it's a learning place too, and also a resource place. So it's been fun. I love it.
And and certainly being able to have a kid get the backpack, that I don't want to say that it's not just a handout, but the idea too that it's an investment, and the idea that maybe that kid gets that set of school supplies, then they don't have to stress out about not having a pencil or crayons when it comes time to do something at school. Like, they've got what they need, and that's an investment in that child being able to spring forward and really do something.
And everything's brand new, so that's awesome. So they have all new school supplies, a brand new backpack, and to see the joy and the excitement, and then just to say to every child, like, have a great year, enjoy that. So
I think that's very
fun.
sweet. In terms of other programs you guys have, the 211 helpline, which is huge, which I believe Governor DeWine recently announced a statewide expansion for. So now anybody anywhere in Ohio, if they need help for any variety of reasons, we talked about the 3 different pillars of education and financial empowerment and housing. Anybody that needs help in just about any category can dial 211 and get the help on that. That's a huge offering for people.
It's a huge community asset, and I encourage anyone can call. You can call 211. Like, I have, like, if you're caring for a family member and you need help, anyone can call 241 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. 211 is a United Way number. It's actually 98% of the country is covered by that, and we have some spots in Canada. But so if you call and you're not in our area, we service 9 counties, we can connect you to the right 211. But what the awesome part about 211 is it's not only is that you get to talk to a human being, and we're navigating and collecting information about you if you're willing to provide it, to connect you to resources, whether it's housing, childcare, summer activities, senior care. We're collecting that information, but it also tells us a little bit what's happening in the region. So we can populate that and say, gosh, we're noticing that there's perhaps not enough food pantries in this region, or we have a lot here and not as much there. So we're always collecting that data and using it to help us lift up what's missing, what do we need to adjust for. And then if you happen to call back like 6 months later, I can say, oh, how did it go with X? We can ask you some questions, and we're populating information. Oh, I hear some small children in the background. Is there anything you need with them with services? So we're always trying to be helpful, and then we do that closed loop referral to make sure that you've got what you need. And it really takes the burden off of, I mentioned I was a social worker, and I'm trying to remember all the resources. Anybody, so we have a lot of providers, social workers, like, they can jump on our website and see what's available, and then they have accurate information that's up to date. Here are the hours of this organization. They don't have a wait list, or they do have a wait list. And so we're always curating that to make sure. There's nothing worse if you're stressed out trying to figure out where to get food, and you get sent to 2 places that didn't have food. We want that to be easy for families.
Or let alone dialing a number and having to go through some robotic phone tree, like having a human being that you can talk to that is dialed in and knows how to help. And then with this data-driven sort of solutions that you guys have, you know where the need is going to be. So when it comes time for things like the campaign, which is going on again or will be launching soon, it's not just a matter of, hey, we want to help with a capital H in a very broad sense. There's very specific ideas, and you know how to target where the solution is needed. That's got to play a tremendous role in your work, going out and talking with, there's so many corporate partners in this city. I think one of my favorite things about this city is the way that different businesses and companies step up to really help and participate and back organizations like the United Way. That's got to be a huge relief for you.
It is, and we're lucky. I mean, there's corporate partners, there's faith-based partners, so many partners. And the other great thing too now with 211, that's a recent development, we're connecting with the healthcare system. So like we can connect families as they're leaving to say, what are the resources you need at your fingertips in certain neighborhoods. So we really are trying to make sure it's available to everybody.
Talking about the campaign, you just recently announced that Lee Fox, who is the CEO of Alta Fiber, is the new chair of the campaign for this year. And talking about that must be you guys at the maybe at the announcement. I mean, seriously, what is that like? You've got such a background in knowing the need in this area, and then being able to connect with corporate folks like this to really back things. That's a really special thing, right? That doesn't happen in a lot of other cities.
No, we're lucky. I mean, Lee's awesome. He's like diving right in, but it really, to your point, shows the commitment of our community, of our company leaders, our CEOs in this region are really committed to making sure we have a thriving region. And Lee also is on our board and is super excited and just has been diving in, understanding everything. He's such a great ambassador for the work that we're doing, as well as he loves 211. But we've had Procter & Gamble lead it, we've had Fifth Third, and we've had all the big companies lead these campaigns, and we've had Christ Hospital, Children's Hospital. So we're super lucky. And it's great partnerships, and it's a great opportunity just to connect and share, and also remind people like what's happening in our neighborhoods, what's happening in our communities, and how we share that information. And I like to always lead with, we're an impact organization first, and then we fundraise against that. But most importantly, we have to make sure that we are delivering and that we exist on behalf of community. I think, long term would be great if we put ourselves out of business, because communities had everything they needed in their communities with their families, but we probably have a little bit ways to go before that's going to happen.
Well, there's always a need, but trying to lessen the severity of that need. And I think because of all the work that you guys do and what a tremendous organization it is, and the millions of dollars, the thousands of people, the thousands of volunteers, you guys really cast a very wide net to help folks a lot. We have to take a break. We've got more with Moira Weir, the president and CEO of United Way of Greater Cincinnati. Going to talk about her specific journey. She knows what she's talking about when she's talking about the need. There's a lot of experience there. We're going to get into that and more when we come back. You are watching The Working Lunch on The Crown. Stick around.
We've been growing since 1946. As your Kubota dealer, our focus is to help you grow today and into the future. Stop by one of our locations today, visit with our folks, and see our entire lineup of Kubota products.
Our business is helping you grow. Bachelor Tractor.
Okay, who are you? Well, you have a First State Bank checking account, so you'll be getting cash back whenever you use it. Oh.
Open a checking account at First State Bank for cash back. First State Bank, built on belief.
How did you get in here?
Every morning, Cincinnati wakes up and gets to work. Companies are built, deals are made, restaurants open, ideas become careers, and every day the people behind it all sit down at the working lunch. Founders, CEOs, entrepreneurs, community leaders, the people building Cincinnati. The Working Lunch with Jack Crumley, weekdays, noon to 1, only on The Crown.
On the radio here in Cincinnati,
area. Cincinnati has always felt like home.
Right here on the Crown Network.
Out and about in Cincinnati, bringing you the stories that you need to hear in the Queen City.
Welcome back to the Working Lunch. I'm Jack Crumley. I am joined by the president and CEO of the United Way of Greater Cincinnati, Moira Weir. Now's the part where we shift a little bit and talk about you, which I think is going to be really interesting because you are the head of United Way of Greater Cincinnati. You've been doing this for about 6 years, and we'll get into your start in things, but coming up to it, you spent quite a bit of time, 20 plus years, at Hamilton County Job and Family Services. So the idea of having a really dialed in understanding of the needs of this area, that's got to be a tremendous asset.
It's been a wonderful journey. I mean, I really feel like I've learned so much, and it really helped prepare me for this role even more. But also, you know, I loved that role and I loved being in that position, but it also started to think about, like, we are meeting immediate needs, but what are we doing really to think about changing conditions for the future, and also more preventative work, which is really important. And that's the role. Government really can't, they're not funded to do that. Right. And so, like, how do we as a community think about, wouldn't it be wonderful we could help families before it becomes a crisis? And also, like, what are we doing as a region to change the conditions so that all children have the same opportunities and all families have the same opportunities?
Well, and that's discussing the idea of trying to change the systems that are in place to really have fertile ground for kids to thrive in. We talked about the homeless, or the housing element of what you guys do. The idea of keeping a family from becoming unhoused versus the expense of getting them back into a house. That's a night and day difference as far as how much something costs.
It is. I mean, the data suggests that if you can prevent an eviction, you're saving money for like more than $3,000 to $4,000. Like, the landlord doesn't have to have expenses of the court hearing. You know, all the things that go. Then you have to evict somebody, and then just for a family, I mean, that one incident can set a family back years. And not only the financial setback, but the trauma. I mean, imagine like coming home and not having a place to sleep. So really, we try to really, first of all, let's stabilize the situation. The more we know about it up ahead of time, like if we know that you're starting to struggle, I mean, sometimes it could be just one thing. Like, I was sick and I missed 3 days of work, or my child had to go to the doctor and I had to pay the doctor fee and the medical bill, and now I'm behind. So it's often one thing, and then it just kind of like gets out of control. And so how do we prevent that? And keeping people in their homes is important, making sure that they're in income-aligned housing, that it's affordable, and or people on a fixed income, making sure that they can stay in their home. And, you know, me being able to pass my home to my child is an opportunity to create generational wealth. And so how do we help families do that in ways that, you know, that they are able to say, instead of selling to maybe an out-of-town landlord, what if I could pass my home to my children, and now they have something to start to build wealth?
Yeah, and these are all things that the United Way thinks about and plans for, and has programs in partnership with so many other people about. We talked about your business background, and I'm curious about, it's my understanding that you had a sort of a change in your life that involved some kind of mentorship that sort of changed your personal plan, what you thought you were going to do that led to what you're doing now. What was that change?
So I, as you mentioned, I had a business background, and I was working for a real estate development company, imagine that, and I became a mentor to a foster child. And her name is Cleo. She allows me to say that. And really meeting Cleo, loving Cleo, changed everything for me. And it really made me eventually make a career change. I tried to get into social work, but I didn't obviously have the degree to do that. So I ended up going back to get my master's in social work, and then became a child welfare worker because of my experience with Cleo. And, you know, when I say that, Cleo had a mom who cared deeply for her, but was struggling with some mental health and addiction. And she had siblings, and so often found herself she was in foster care and not often with her siblings. And just watching the trauma of not seeing her mom, who was trying to do everything but was having a hard time, and then also not seeing her siblings just had a huge impact on me. And just seeing how the systems weren't, from my perspective, weren't always working on behalf of her and her family. And it's not a criticism, it just was hard, and I became really passionate about it. And my mom said one day, well, then do something about it. So,
thanks, Mom.
I know. Well, but it ended up, I mean, I'm grateful for that because it changed my not only career path, but I would say I was so lucky to do something that I both care personally about and professionally, and to love what you do is a blessing. Yeah. And I really believe that my whole journey, I mean, all these different families, Cleo being the first, has hopefully made me a better person and a stronger person in terms of how I approach community. And really, it's all about what the community wants and how do I listen to the voices of community. Just like you want to have agents, you want to decide what's right for you and your family. Same with me, I want to do that with families. And so how do we use that information? But as well, we have to look at the data. We have to look at what we're accomplishing. So it's a both and. And then to me, you just approach the systems and the families in a much more holistic manner with a lot of grace and humility. Early on as a child welfare worker, I used to think, I knew what was right. Right. And so quickly I realized I had no idea it was right. I was a child welfare worker before I was a parent, imagine that. And of course, as soon as I had my son, it even taught me more about, whoa, it's tough,
But so all those things led to you having a really dialed in practical understanding. That's got to be tremendously helpful.
And I just think, watching in this, again, I had a great honor to be being a social worker is just an amazing job, and I think social workers don't get enough credit. Yeah. And also, how does that help inform me to talk about the challenges of families, but also it taught me a lot just about how complex things are. We're all, lots of things happening. So it really, hopefully, has contributed to making sure that the work that we do is meeting the needs of community, and that we're being open, and that we're learning, and that long-term will solve that. I mean, Cleo, sadly, ended up aging out of foster care. I mean, she never found a home. Her mom ultimately lost custody of her, and she struggles to this day, and she has several children. Some are now in foster care. And so that's how do we stop that from happening? Because she's a wonderful human being who cares deeply about her children. And that was my experience. Most parents care deeply. They just need help, and we shouldn't judge them. And we have to challenge our own. We all have narratives, we all have biases.
Preconceived notions.
Yeah, and so that's something I work on every day. And being a social worker really helped, I think, stretch me in that way, and hopefully in a very positive way.
Speaking of being stretched when it comes to a job that you're doing, you came into this position with the United Way of Greater Cincinnati in March of 2020, quite possibly at a time when the need could not have been greater. How do you even not lose your mind and break out into a cold sweat every time you hear that date, just knowing the way that all the dominoes fell and the whole world got sick, and now you are in the driver's seat of an organization that is trying to help people when the need was maybe greater than it's ever been?
Yeah, I think back, wasn't an odd time for all of us. I mean, really, when we think about it. So I started March 16th.
Oh my gosh.
And that was the night before the restaurant shut down. And I will tell you the first thing I thought about when restaurants were closing was, oh my goodness, all those families that were depending on those dollars to pay for childcare, buy diapers, food. What are they going to do?
Pay their rent, and the number of working families that are just one paycheck away from poverty.
Yeah, so it really was. I mean, I didn't really think about it. It was just in my being a child welfare, you jump in and get things done like you had to. So and I worked with a great team. We just, arm in arm, locked arm, and so what can we do? The community was awesome. I think every business, everybody was rethinking, how do I operate? What do we do? And that gave us the proof points that really let us invest and expand in 211, because when I arrived at United Way, I was if I had known about 211 at my other role, I would have been sending so many families here, because so many families get pulled into the public sector, and I don't mean that in a bad way, that didn't need that. They just needed a quick intervention. And so 211 is that quick intervention. And how do we help them meet their needs? So it really gave us the confidence and the proof point to really expand that service. But I think it also gave us the opportunity, like every business, to say, let's rip the Band-Aid off and just go all in and try something different. And how do we do that? And that's when I believe we really became laser focused on being an impact organization first, and that we would drive the fundraising to support the things that the community needs, and what does the community needs telling us, and how do we support that?
Yeah, it's a lot to juggle. We don't have too much longer yet. I want to get into with you. Are there any other? Do you have any events coming up that people should be aware of? We've talked about the Backpacks for Success. Certainly, 211 is a 24/7 availability. Are there any events on the horizon for you guys?
We're still distributing the backpacks. We always have tax prep going on, meaning like how are we helping families with it? People don't. That sounds boring, but you're completing your taxes, if you're 200, 300, 400% of poverty is a huge economic driver. So we're always looking for volunteers for that, as well as letting families know it's an opportunity that's available. We know that is a one-time ability to change somebody's economic mobility when they get the refund. And last year we brought in over $11 million in tax refunds for this region.
Huge.
And that's purchasing power. Like that's money in your pocket. And so how do we use that to say, maybe you can open up a child savings account. Maybe you can think about paying off that debt or thinking about home ownership. So, and filing fees are so expensive. And we saved over $2 million with filing fees. Actually, when I was looking at the data a couple of weeks ago, I think since 2003, we brought in $258 million in tax refunds to this region.
That's tremendous.
So,
and that's regular folks.
That's regular
people have maybe a picture of a really impoverished situation.
It's mostly working families that are in, and that the tax credits that come, like the child tax credit. So that's always going on. Obviously, 211. We have our big Brighter Tomorrow event coming up in October, which is tied into Blink, which is so exciting. And that's where we really highlight some of the work that we're doing really around the educational success and that cradle to career concept. So that's coming up, and that's exciting. There's always something going on. Soon we'll be doing, around the holidays, we do an Adopt a Family. So it's really targeted towards more guardian caregivers, just because we know families are strapped around the holidays in particular. So we have lots of great donors that, every family that's part of our network gets, some supplies, gifts, whatever they would like around that time of year. So it takes the burden off of families financially.
There's a ton.
There's a ton.
There's a ton. There's a ton of programs that the United Way does, and then also just volunteering opportunities with all the business owners and the folks that maybe watch this show that have a business, and maybe there's an organization that they're looking to support. Being able to volunteer your time is a huge part.
That's a great, volunteers are the backbone of a lot of what we do, and I also think volunteering gets you connected to community. So many companies, we just finished a volunteer event at Western Southern where they were doing an impact volunteer event. So there's lots of ways that you can get involved. It's a great way to do team building. With your whether you want to put backpacks together, or we have like hygiene kits we put together for families. Those are expensive. Dental kits, like things that are costly for families that we can, we have teams to do volunteer, and then we go distribute them. So it's really awesome.
There's a lot of opportunity out there. United Way of Greater Cincinnati. A ton of opportunity to help, and a big need that's always there. Moira Weir, thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
We got to take a break. We'll be back with more Working Lunch after this.
The Crown has you covered. Start your day with First Word, Cincinnati's only morning sports show. Power through midday with the Working Lunch, Cincinnati business talk that keeps you in the know. Nat tries that for lifestyle around the city, and the Rebound Rundown covers every corner of the college basketball scene in the tri-state and beyond. This is The Crown. First Word for your morning sports, Nat tries that for lifestyle around the city, the Working Lunch for business that hits home, and Rebound Rundown for college hoops. This city deserves its crown. Watch, listen, subscribe.
On the radio here in Cincinnati.
Cincinnati has always felt like home.
Right here on the Crown Network.
Out and about in Cincinnati, bringing you these stories that you need to hear in the Queen City.
Cincinnati sports fans are the best. Loyal, passionate, second to none. This city lives and breathes sports, and now it finally has a morning show to match. I'm James Rapine, and this is First Word, the only morning sports show in Cincinnati and the place where every day starts. We break down the biggest moments and set the agenda for the city. Marissa Contepelli and Jacob Tissett join me to bring the insight and energy you need to start your day. The conversation starts with First Word. First Word, weekdays 7 to 11, part of the Crown Network.
Our beliefs matter. They're reflected in our words and actions. At First State Bank, we believe in treating people well, and have since 1884. Listening, caring, looking out for each other. It's what people deserve. It's what a real local bank does. While lots of things have changed over the years, our belief in you hasn't. First State Bank, built on belief.
Welcome back to the Working Lunch. I'm Jack Crumley. It is weekend box office time where we check and see how some movies did over the weekend. To the surprise of no one, Spider-Man Brand New Day continuing to dominate. It made another $145 million just domestically over the weekend. It's one of only 8 movies to ever make more than $100 million in its second weekend. It's now raked in $655 million. Again, that's just in the States in just 10 days, the most ever for that time frame for a movie. Thinking about the money that Tom Holland should be making starring for this, he's reportedly getting around $20 million base salary just for this movie. He's likely also getting points on the gross, probably tracking closer to $100 million for his work as Spider-Man just in this movie. It's making a ton of money. Another actor who's having a huge 2026 is Robert Pattinson. He was in The Odyssey, huge. He starred in the drama with Zendaya earlier this year. It was one of my favorite movies of the year. He's doing a movie with Denzel Washington coming up later this year. Dune Part 3 is coming out in December, and our Pats also has this coming out next month.
Come on in.
Are you sure your parents aren't home?
I'm sure.
Big night planned.
Who are you?
Why don't you have a seat right there? I'm Chris Hansen with Dateline NBC, and we're doing a story on adults who try to meet teens online. You see how this looks, right?
That movie looks incredible. A quick reminder for how big NBC's To Catch a Predator was from the year 2004 to 2007. That show averaged more than 7 million viewers per episode. It single-handedly boosted Dateline NBC's ratings by 13%. And that meant advertisers were paying a big premium to run spots during that segment on that show. However, all that success got offset by a major lawsuit in 2007. It was alluded to in that trailer. Look at how crazy that trailer looks. It looks unreal. $105 million lawsuit filed because of a death by suicide related to the production of the show. The family said that death was the result of NBC Universal recklessly going for ratings. NBC settled out of court for millions of dollars. It's ultimately what killed that show. Very excited to see what kind of crazy Robert Pattinson brings to the table for that movie. Again, I believe that's coming out in September. Really looking forward to that. I would like to give a huge thank you to Moira Weir, the president and CEO of United Way of Greater Cincinnati, a monster organization that's doing a ton of work. There's a ton of opportunities for help. There's a ton of opportunities to help if you check out the United Way of Greater Cincinnati. Very grateful to have her on. Hey, it's only Monday. We got a big week, big shows all this week. Tell a friend. Check out The Working Lunch every Monday through Friday at noon right here on The Crown. I'm Jack Crumley. We're back again tomorrow. Thanks for watching.